All right, man. What's going on, Derek?
Hey, Mr. Cortina, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, man. Thank you for doing this. Um,
Yeah,
well,
I see you're skimming the bottom of the barrel here.
oh, come on, come on. Uh, all right, so PRS finale that just happened. It's over, right? It'll be bigger next year, like
Yeah,
like the deer hunters say.
yep, yep, absolutely.
So what the well, tell me about PRS. Like, how does it work? A lot of people don't understand the concept or the format.
Yeah, so PRS is a pretty unique shooting discipline in the regards of you have Mother Nature involved, but the course of fire is always changing. It's kind of like three gun or some of these pistol competitions, but just long range rifles.
Mm-hmm.
So typically, how I explain it is a normal course of fire is anywhere from 8 to 12 rounds, anywhere from 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And sometimes it's a stagnant target. Most of the matches now are going to multiple targets,
Mm-hmm.
either a near far or big small, or sometimes a full troop line,
Mm-hmm.
five different distances, sometimes six. It's just, it always changes. And I think that's what keeps people coming back because it doesn't get stagnant. So
So the way PRS works, I kind of played with it a little bit. Uh, you just show up to a club match, right? Anybody can show up with a club match. Uh, they don't really have any gear requirements technically. I mean, you can literally show up with your deer rifle and shoot,
yeah,
correct?
absolutely.
And you're just gonna fall into
Yeah, you can.
some category. Uh, you're gonna fall. Typically, if you just bring a deer rifle, you're probably gonna fall into production. But they don't really have production at club matches, do they? Or
Yeah. There's production class in we call it the regional series,
mm-hmm.
and so every region has multiple clubs, and those clubs, a local guy to that club can sign up for that match,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Texas Precision Matches over in Navasota,
Right.
and get signed up, and we'll classify you, where you belong. So if you're shooting, I believe the rules this year were a production rifle that cost under $2,500, you would be in a production class. You can have tactical division, which is 223 or 308. They have gas gun series as well, so you can be in a gas gun class, or you can have the open division, which is what I compete in, which is kind of, I think, a 30 caliber under 3,200 feet per second.
Okay. So the point is, they'll fall under some class. Doesn't really matter, right? They can just show up, have fun, and get better.
That's it. That's it. And I think that's what brought me to it is I just wanted to be better with a rifle. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be able to pick up my rifle and take it to its full potential. And I think most people probably crave that. And PRS was a very easy button way of doing that, because it's just you're constantly surrounded by mentors and people that are extremely friendly. They'll share equipment and advice, and a lot of times it's hard to find stuff like that. So
Right. So, were you a hunter before? What were you doing? What made you want to get better with the rifle?
yeah, I had a probably similar to some people's story, but I had a deer walk out of my life at probably 350 something yards,
Mm-hmm.
and you know a guy that was on my deer lease ended up shooting that same buck about a month later,
Uh huh.
and I just didn't feel confident in the shot. He was a big mature buck. He wasn't a monster by anybody's imagination, but he was a mature deer who probably was 150 to 160 inch deer.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, it was the biggest deer I had seen while hunting, and I couldn't take a shot on him, and that drove me absolutely insane. And so that kind of took me down the rabbit hole of going, man, how do I use this rifle? I know that this rifle could have made that shot. It was
Mm-hmm.
me that was the limiting factor. And so I just kind of basically started self-teaching myself, based on what I could find on the internet, and then what I could produce in real life.
Uh, so 350-yard shot. What rifle did you have at the time?
I had a 308.
Okay. It's amazing, right? Like looking back, how long ago was that?
That was in 2014,
Okay, so
2013.
8 years ago, right? But of
Yep.
course, this was true maybe 5 years ago. But the point is, it's amazing to think back, right? That back in the day when you thought 350 yards was so far, right?
Exactly.
And now it's like 350 yards is like nothing, right? It's the equivalent of 100 yards for most people, right? Like to you, that's like a
Right.
for sure thing nowadays. And it's amazing how training and skill and really learning the craft extends your range. You know, the ability for you to make
Absolutely.
100% hits just gets extended drastically. Like, um, let's say a 2 MOA target. How big is a deer target wise? 18 inches or so? Like the vitals?
Uh, the vital, yeah, I'd probably say, yeah, 12, maybe 12 inches, 12,
Okay,
14 inches.
so let's just call it 1 MOA, just for simplicity, right?
Okay.
What distance are you now today comfortable saying I can hit a 1 MOA target 100% of the time? What distance would that be?
I would, I would feel pretty confident out to 600, 700 yards.
Right, which is crazy because back then, right, 350 was just nuts. But it's amazing how, like I said, the training and just being in this game, because you're exposed to so many different scenarios, so many different targets, so many different weather conditions that when you said, I noticed you took a time to answer because you really thought about it, and it's like, wow, you've hit targets umpteen million times that
Yeah.
size in standing, kneeling or whatever, So
Sure.
it's amazing. PRS does. Uh, if you're gonna be a hunter, I think PRS is a great sport to get into, just because it. I mean, you can shoot off a post, you can shoot off the tire. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. That's kind of what I love about it is it's a practical style shooting discipline. It's now when I say that, of course, we're going to have a lot of comments that there's nothing practical about 20-pound rifles, but uh, you know, the sport has evolved into a game. Its original, you know, idea was to take a rifle that a common man would have in his gun safe and teach him how to use it to its potential off of natural props like stumps or tree limbs or fence posts, cattle gates, things that we're going to experience while we're out hunting.
Right.
And and I did take a minute to answer your question because I do put a lot of thought into it. And I was thinking, you said one MOA, and so a one MOA target without the ability to truly kind of gauge the current environmentals and off of the cuff, 700 yards, I would feel pretty confident to take a shot at a game animal. Now, when you're talking about 12-inch vitals on a whitetail, well, that pushes that distance to 2 MOA at 600, right? So,
Right. Right.
I would feel more confident a little bit further probably on a whitetail on a set of vitals, but um, I try to I try to put myself in the shoes of a hunter, somebody who's actually out in the outdoors, going, man, I don't have time to swing a kestrel around and have time to capture environmentals and look through my
Right.
data and take a reading. I just have to look at the conditions, make a judgment call, and send it. And PRS has definitely improved the skills of being able to do that.
Right. But I mean, if you are out hunting, right, you're gonna take a reading in the morning, right? Maybe
Yep.
get your
Yep.
kestrel, get your DA, whatever, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna input that for now. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
um, when I used to hunt elk, I used to walk around with about a 300-yard zero on my rifle. I just in the morning, I'm like, I'm gonna put a 300-yard zero. If I see something, if it's 100 yards, I'll just hold under. You know what I mean? And if it's, that
Sure.
just gave me the ability to shoot out to 350 or so, without having to do much, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so anyway, there's ways that you can pre-plan for that. Now, if it's a 600 yards, more than likely you're gonna have time to take proper readings, gauge the wind, because they're not gonna see you, right? That's the
Sure.
beauty about being 600 yards away.
Yep. You got time.
Yeah, but anyway, so now you're a PRS guy, but you're not only a PRS guy, you're a top shelf PRS guy.
Yeah, I can hold my own in most situations. Yeah.
Now, so
Uh,
so so that's, I guess, the next thing, that the next chapter, right? It's like, first you just wanted to be able to shoot a deer at 350. At what
sure.
point did that quit being the goal? And like, because your goals obviously shifted, because now you can,
Sure.
now you achieved that goal and you didn't stop, right? Now you.
Well, and the wild thing about that is I did it because I had a deer walk out of my life, and I have not shot a game animal at distance since I've learned how to do this. And don't ask me why. It's just, I guess the thrill is not quite there like it used to be. Now I know what my reach is, and so it's not nearly as exciting. Um, but now the goal has kind of shifted. When I got into PRS, it was to learn how to be a better rifleman and learn some what I call rifle mechanics. And
Mm-hmm.
now, once you kind of have a little bit of taste of blood, if you will, the competitive nature, it's like, okay, well, how far can I take this? How good of a shooter can I be amongst everyone in the nation?
Right.
And once you kind of see where you fall in that regard, then you kind of shift efforts. At least for me and most of the people I know, it's how can I get more people involved in doing this? How can I spread the knowledge and get more people effective out at longer ranges? And so, that's a big reason why we started DI Precision. Was we need a full facility here that we can have a guy who doesn't know anything and walk in and leave with 6 months worth of online knowledge and probably an hour and a half. You know what I mean? And
Well, that
so
that
and then
that's
give them a
yeah. So you this is why I really want to talk to you, because you started with, okay, I want to shoot a deer at 350. You got past that. You
yeah.
became a top shelf PRS shooter. Now you actually live it every day at DI Precision. You guys like now, because you didn't have this, right? You didn't have the ability to just go somewhere and learn, get a really good rifle that you can win a PRS match with. Uh,
Yeah.
get training, get the know-how, get reloading, whatever they need, you guys can do. Like, you guys are a full one-stop shop, where if a Derek Webster from 10 years ago was to show up and say, "Hey, here's the thing, I want to shoot 350 yards. What do I do?" And you're like, "Oh, yeah, no problem. What are
you
you
know
shooting at?" "Well, I want to shoot deer." "Okay, well, we got, you got whatever, 6.5 Creed, we got a 6 Creed, we got a 3, whatever, right? We can, and if you don't have it, you can build it for them. Uh, you can set them up with you can set them up all the way, and on top of it is like, okay, now here's the rifle. Now we're gonna teach you how to use it. We're gonna take you. We're gonna train you,
correct. Yeah.
and we're gonna give you the ability to, next time you go out, just you're ready to go. Which, you guys can do all that for somebody in a very short amount of time, because it took you months, maybe years, to get that knowledge
Years.
and
Yeah.
get the experience and get the ability. And how many rifles did you have to build before you ended up on the one that you really wanted? You know what I mean? The one that really
Yeah.
served you like what you wanted. So I think
Sure.
it's a great service for somebody to just come to you guys and say, this is my problem," and you're like, "Here's the solution. Here's the training." I call it hardware and
Yeah.
software. Everybody will sell you hardware.
That's, yep.
In the shooting world,
Yep.
most people will sell you the hardware, but the software you kind of have to go get on your own. And you guys do
Sure.
both.
Yeah, absolutely. I get, we'll call them 350-yard Derek Websters walking into the shop all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I get them calling, all the time. And I don't think until you come down to the shop that you truly understand, what we do and what we offer. When you get there and you see, oh, okay, this is like a pro shop
Mm-hmm.
for precision rifle stuff. If you've ever, any of the golfers out there listening, if you've ever went and got fitted for golf clubs, it's kind of a similar thing. We're going to let you, pick up and hold and look at and different rifle platforms and figure out what your goals are. And we'll kind of say, well, this is what I would build for me if I was doing what you want to do with that rifle, and this is the caliber I would choose, and blah blah blah.
Right.
And then also, hey, we're gonna also take you across the creek, and we've got a 500-yard range at our facility, and we can do kind of an intro class there, and we've got some access to some other ranges that we can do, longer range training as well. But that's the exciting place, is it's a one-stop shop. When you leave us, there's nothing you need to go buy from anyone else. You come out of DI Precision feeling pretty accomplished and capable.
Capable is a
We
big
just had,
thing.
I just have capable is a huge thing. There's plenty of training out there that I would call long range experiences, or rifle experience class, where you get to bang a few steel targets and you're like, okay, that was cool, you know, and then you're driving home and go, shit, how do you do that?
Right. Right.
I don't know. How did that guy do that again? And so
Yeah,
we
because
try to build
there's a big
relationships with.
difference between, for example, somebody comes over, right, and they say, "Yeah, I want to shoot 1,000 yards," and I'm like, "Okay, hang on," and I dial my scope, dial the windage, you know what I mean? Take a couple of shots, and I'm like, I'm centered up, and I go, "Okay, hold center," and they hold center, and they pull the trigger, and the metal, the plate goes ding, and they're super excited, but in reality, all they did was pull the trigger. It's no different than shooting at 100 yards, right? In reality, because
Absolutely.
everything's sighted in. Uh, what you guys do is you teach somebody to take a just just about any rifle, and that they know what to do themselves to make that shot, right, on their
Yeah.
own, without
Yeah.
needing somebody
Yeah.
to, yeah, hey, go ahead and dial the scope for me. You teach them, because the reason I know this is because I've took your class. I personally took your class, and because I wanted to see what it was about,
Yeah.
right? As you know, I also teach, but I'm like, again, software, right? My software is it's a different version than what the software that you offer, right? My software is
Sure.
F class, right? So when I was doing PRS and stuff, I found out you were teaching, so I took a class from you, and so I know what it is that you teach. You teach, how to use the Kestrel, how to set up your rifle, how to true up your rifle, how to, I mean, everything.
Sure.
If I
Yeah.
didn't know, I know some stuff, but if I didn't know anything, I would have felt pretty confident leaving there, because you went through the whole thing of from
Right.
start to finish, and making. I mean, we were making impacts. I was able to hit at 1,000 yards that day. No, but I mean, if
Well,
somebody else that's never done it, they can do that with you. Is what I'm
sure.
getting at.
Sure. And you know, I've had this conversation quite a few times, but I'd say that my biggest fault is a lot of guys are super excited to hit the steel, and I'm not excited until you hit the water line on the steel. I want you to hit the center.
Right.
Keep them centered, right?
Keep them centered.
And
Um,
keep them centered.
so let's
um,
let's clarify one thing. If somebody already has a rifle, they can simply come to you for the training, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So you offer all of it, or whatever they want. Some of it you can piecemeal it together, or whatever they want. You can help them with that.
Yeah. We can tailor it to whatever the client needs. So if he wants just wind training, or if he wants just kestrel training, or he wants you to go, hey, how do you mount a scope? How do you clean a barrel? How do you reload ammo? How do you do all these things? I want to take it step by step. We can set up multiple classes, and we do a lot of one-on-one too. So we can dedicate, strictly the day to you as well. So you don't have to kind of split your time up amongst a 20-man class where you get to ask two questions all day. and you don't want to feel silly because you think maybe you don't know as much as some of the other guys. And we don't have that with us. There's no dumb question.
Uh, and you guys are in Brenham, Texas, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. Right there, just north of Brenham on the way to Snook on Highway 50.
And just
Right.
what would that be? Kind of southwest of College Station.
Yep.
So I mean, you
Yep.
guys
Just
are
southwest of College
pretty easy to find. Now, um,
Station.
so you started with center fire, right? Now you've been playing
I
around
did.
with
Yeah.
22s.
Oh yeah. Well, we build a lot of 22s at DI Precision. So
So that's what I was going to talk
it,
to you about, because as you know, recently I was on the hunt for a 22 because I want to start shooting some 22, because doing these interviews, I've talked to multiple F class guys that say you got to shoot F class, like 22 F class is freaking amazing. And then I've talked to people that say, oh, you got to try 22 bench rest. And well, you guys also have 22 PRS, right? So I'm like, okay, I need a
yeah.
22. And of course, who do I call? I called you. I said, hey, Derek, I need a 22. And you're like, well, do you want a 22 or you want just a 22? Because you could just go to Walmart and get your 22 or Academy, right? Or if
Correct.
you want like what you guys built for me, which is
Yeah.
a Voodoo Action inch 250 barrel, all just looks just like an
Mm.
F-class rifle. uh, it's got a tell me, and of course tuner. You guys put one of my tuners on there, and that version 2 tuner, and I mean this thing is a freaking hammer. Now,
Yeah.
this thing is strictly a competition rifle, correct?
Sure.
So,
Sure.
but I don't know many people that can do what you guys do, which is build custom, full blown 22 rimfire, and not only. Okay, I'm sure there's. To be honest, I didn't really look real hard. I just called you, and I knew you were going to take care of me, because not only are you building them, you're winning with them.
Yeah.
This guy
Yeah.
right
Absolutely.
here. So you're winning all the time with those 22. So I'm like, okay, why am I gonna? I often say just do what the winners, just copy what they're doing, and it's gonna save you a bunch of time.
Yeah. At least start there, right? Like that's the starting point.
So these 22s,
The,
let's talk about
yeah.
them right quick. What is it that you guys do? Like, take me through the whole process of building a 22. Like, I feel like I have a little bit of privilege because we're pretty close friends. But if somebody was to say, you know what, I want a 22, like, what are the options? Just walk me through what you guys do.
Well, when we started down the venture of doing 22s, we didn't have a whole lot of experience with them. I don't think anybody really did, especially rebarreling Voodoos. At the time, Voodoo was the only one making Voodoo 22s.
Mm-hmm.
And, love them. They were great. They were winning a lot of matches. The only downfall that we saw was, if you wanted to mimic your centerfire rifle, or you wanted a little bit more weight on the front of the rifle, you were kind of limited at Voodoo as far as what length and what contours. I think they only offered a couple different ones, and so when you find a problem, you find a solution, and so we started getting a lot of different manufacturers of barrels, and we don't have to mention any of them. We just tested a bunch of them,
Mm-hmm.
and we liked a couple different ones, and so we decided, okay, we're going to stick with these, and this is going to be our primary source for precision 22 barrels on our barreled actions.
Mm-hmm.
And the other big significant thing is when we complete a 22, it immediately gets walked right outside the door and gets bolted in. We've got a couple different test chassis,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually test that rifle to make sure it meets our standards. And that's prior to tuning. It needs to meet our standards prior to tuning. And so we don't spend a whole lot of time tuning the rifle just to see how small it can get. We
Mm-hmm.
just send a test group at multiple distances, and it's just verified that this is acceptable to send to a client. And then we get it cleaned up and boxed up and shipped out. But that's a big thing. And, it takes time. It takes time to do that, and it takes a facility to be able to do that. And so what's important for us to know is that when that client gets his rifle and he pulls it out, it's going to be right. So we make sure of that. Now, contours, we've played with contours. We've got a lot of bench rest guys that are using our 22s as well, and they're doing extremely well with the single shot voodoos, shooting center fire or shooting bench rest matches up in Tennessee. But that's something I haven't dabbled in yet. I like a repeater. I like the PRS kind of game a little bit. Now, I am potentially going to start dabbling F class. We might talk about that.
Oh no. So you shot a little bit of F class already, and
I shot match, yeah.
And I guess the bug kind of bit you a little bit.
Well, yeah, I got lucky, and those guys let me win. So,
So Tim Vaught, who is the current national champion.
Yes.
He let you.
Good dude.
He let you use his rifle, which is the same rifle that I believe is the same rifle that he used to win the nationals with. So, no doubt it's a good rifle, right?
Well, I put the good voodoo on it for him.
There you go. And you came out to Bayou Rifle Club, and you shot a match, right? You shot pretty much. You used all of Tim's stuff, right? But
yeah, Tim let me his backup gun at the time.
How did all that start? That you decided to shoot a match?
Well, I really didn't have a whole lot of interest in it because as a PRS guy, it seems a little bit mundane to lay down on a rifle and shoot, groups, and then that's it. And then you wait, shoot another group. And I'm used to a little bit more live action, but I was having a conversation. We name dropping or
hell yeah, just hammer down.
Yeah, so me and Omar Alonso were having some lunch one day, and we've always kind of cracked up to each other, and he kept bringing up this, if you ever get out to an F class match, you're going to be humbled pretty quickly, and and that's how the conversation started. And then a couple margaritas in, then it's not, you're not going to be humbled, you're going to get wrecked, and then it's you're just going to and I'm sitting here going, man, I said, come on, Omar. I said, give me a little bit of credit. I'll probably at least be, top 10 maybe, and he just starts laughing. And I'm like, well, I guess there's a disconnect with F class guys and PRS guys. And I don't think they truly know what one of each do, because if they don't shoot both disciplines.
Right.
And so the biggest thing that I know is I look at Mirage a lot. I mean, for 2 straight days, I stay on binoculars looking at conditions and watching bullets fly. And if I've got 10 to 15 people in my squad, we all talk as a squad. Hey, what are you starting with? Oh, I'm starting with this. Okay, cool. And you watch. Well, did that condition allow that bullet to hit the center of the plate, or did it hit left, right, or off the plate? And so I'm able to see those things happen a lot. Well, I told Omar, I said, I'm not going to build a rifle, just to come out there and shoot an F class match as bad as I want to. I can't justify that. And he says, well, I'll call Tim, and Tim will let you borrow the backup rifle. I said, call him. And so he called Tim, and Tim was pretty excited, to say the least, to see this little competition go down, But, he let me borrow his rifle, and man, I was kind of hoping they had forgotten about it. But they called me about a week later and said, hey, you going to be out there on Sunday? And I said, well, man, did I say I was going to be out there? And he said, yeah. I said, I'll be out there then. And that was on a Wednesday. The match was on Sunday. And I'll let the cat out of the bag here, but I called you as soon as I got off the phone with Omar, and I said, hey, Eric, I said, man, I've never shot F class before. Can I come down there and just at least look at one of these F class rifles and like figure out what that joystick thing does, and at least shoot a round through, a 7mm round. And so I did that. And, I kind of picked your brain a little bit and just wanted to get some sort of process together.
So you called me on Wednesday. On Thursday, you're out here.
I did.
You're out here in the morning. We go to the range and we shoot. And it was horrendous Mirage. I mean, it was bad because it was, we got out there, I don't know, 11 a.m. or whatever time it was. And it was hot and humid, and But anyway, but we got out there and, you shot. I think I brought both of my rifles. You shot them. And we talked and talked, and you asked questions, and I answered. And I was really hoping it would be helpful, but I think it was.
Yeah. It gave me a little bit of confidence. I needed some sort of taste test before I went and dove off into the deep end. So, but okay, so we did that. We did our training, and I did a little bit of breaking in. I think one of your rifles or shooting. I don't know what we've sent. 30 rounds, 40 rounds, maybe.
I don't remember.
Something like
just whatever I had
yeah,
loaded up because it was a very short notice.
I tell you, well, I much. It was probably one of the worst conditions I've ever had to look through an optic on.
Yeah, it was
that
bad.
Target looked like it was horrible, and for me to still be able to punch a few X's and a few tens, I said, well, okay, well, if I can see the target, this will be a whole lot easier.
Right.
And so anyway, I went out there on Sunday. Tim had the rifle all set up, and I said, okay, and I got on it. He's kind of giving me a few pointers as well, and I got down on the rifle, and of course they put me in the first relay. Right, might as well.
Well, that's actually a good thing. Shoot, That's actually a good thing.
Yeah,
because the conditions are pretty mild, especially at Bayou that time of year. They're pretty mild.
Yeah, so I'm shooting the first relay, and I kind of thought everything would just be set up for me, and that first shot didn't even hit the paper. And I said, okay, well, this is interesting. And Tim, he kind of feels bad, and I think he had shot it at 600 yards last time, and so I said, okay, well, we got it all dialed in. I think it took another shot. We got on paper, and then I just told the gentleman behind me, I said, well, I'm gonna go for score now, and he kind of looked at me, and I went after it. My first 20 round string, I sent a 198 and 11 X's. Now, it was pretty good conditions. I believe that the term that was used is powder puff conditions. So it was easy on everyone. Now, that first relay, Omar shot a 198 as well. And he shot a couple less X's than me. And so I had to go rub a little salt in the wound, So what is this dash 11?
Oh, but man.
I love Omar to death, man. He's been a huge part of us and DI and a lot of advice, and I wouldn't have ever done it if he wouldn't have kind of challenged me. And so now I'm pretty excited about it. I ended up shooting the 3 relays, and I actually won the whole aggregate. Took first place. I think my official score was a 596 with 27 X's.
That's a good score.
So
really good
that was
score.
a pretty good borrowed rifle, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know which academy he picked up, but I'd go by that same lot number,
The so you text me after the first one. You sent me a picture of the target, and I looked at it and I said, "Slow down." I just I don't know. Just by looking at it, somehow it stood out to me that you were going too fast, but then your scores actually, because you shot a 198 and then you shot a 199 twice, right? 198, 199, 199. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, so now they were powder puff conditions. Let's be honest here, and you did have a freaking hammer of a rifle. So you didn't have to do much, right? Pretty much all you have to do is be a good trigger puller, and you're gonna do well. But what makes, like, I would have thought that you would literally walk away saying, yeah, this is a boring game. But now you're actually considering getting into F class, or at least shooting more matches. Why is that?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, I feel as though it would improve my PRS game by being able to look at conditions and see them pick up and see how the bullet's affected by the pickup. And also, kind of a personal reason is my dad is actually moving down to Manville. He lives in the same neighborhood as me now, and he's moving down to Manville, and it would be a great opportunity for him to come out and us spend the day together. Which it's his fault, man. He started this whole shooting. I call myself a gun enthusiast back in the day, but now I'm a precision rifle guy. So he started this, and so it'll be nice for us to spend some time together. And I think he'll enjoy watching that sport a little bit more. He can kind of stay in one spot and just look at an iPad and see the hopefully X's show up over and over again.
Get him behind a rifle.
Yeah,
I think he would enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good stuff. I think it will help your PRS game. I think cross training is a good thing, right? Because you just kind of get comfortable with what you're doing. But when you go to a different sport, you might find something that you can use from that sport. You know what I mean? For example, for me, when I started shooting PRS, so they used to have these North American Long Range Shooting Association. They had these matches that they would pay pretty good money, right? And the very first one I looked at the rules, and I was getting a rifle ready, hunting rifle, because of the rules, right? And then they changed the rules. Well, then I realized I could make one of my F-class rifles work. So I just needed to, put on a diet. So I chopped the barrel off, put a muzzle brake on there, took a bunch of weight off of it, just made this rifle work. And I took that rifle, and I won with that rifle. Well, what happened is they hadn't really changed the rules. They updated the rules. And apparently what happened is when they updated the rules, they didn't go on the website properly, meaning there were a lot of rules that were left out, which is the reason I was able to make weight or, make my F-class rifle legal, my modified F-class rifle.
Yeah.
So anyway, after that first one, they they changed the rules, or they updated them, whatever. A lot of people were calling it the Cortina rules, because pretty much they outlawed my rifle. The only thing they didn't say was no red rifles, because my rifle was red. But I had a single shot rifle, bolt action. They said it has to be a repeater. I had a rifle that had no safety on it, because it's an F-open rifle. I don't have a safety. And the rules didn't say you had to have a safety. So I said, you got to have a safety. The rules actually said no F-class rifles. They went as far as to put no F-class rifles on the rules. The point is, I couldn't use that rifle anymore. And I didn't have any repeaters. Honestly, I didn't have a single repeater. So I started borrowing some from friends, and K.O. Lewis is the one that let me borrow one of his rifles. And I thought, you know what, I was going to build a North American Shooting Association rifle. And I thought, no, I'm just going to build a PRS rifle. So I built a PRS rifle. And that's, once I had it built, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go shoot some PRS matches. And that's kind of how I ended up shooting PRS matches. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. But what I took away from PRS that is really helpful for me in F-class is, see, for us, because we don't have, we have unlimited sighters, or we always have sighters. You really don't have to be super perfect on your first shot. As long as you hit the paper, just dial it over and you're done, right? So because of PRS, now I try to get on with my first shot, and that was very helpful for me when I went to Europe a couple of months ago, because over there we only had 2 sighters, and they were convertible sighters, meaning, if you shoot an X and a 10, actually over there they use a 5-point system, so it's a 5 and a V. But the point is, if the first 2 are good, you can convert. And now instead of having 15 more shots to go, you only have 13, right? So it's a big advantage, because they also shoot pair fire. The shorter, the less shots you can take, the better off you're going to be, because you're less exposed to the conditions, right? So, for me, that was one thing that I took from PRS, that I'm now, I actually have a profile I use geoballistics. I have a profile for my 284 rifle. And, I look at the DA and all that stuff. And and I look at the conditions, and I try to, on my first shot, hit that 1 MOA target. And I've been pretty
Yeah.
successful doing that. And like I said, I learned that from PRS. Also, because of the density altitude changes in that I experienced from PRS, I realized, hey, when I'm shooting in Phoenix, when it's freaking 55 in the morning and 85 in the afternoon, I can keep track of my DA and, make sure that I'm perfectly centered on target from the
Yeah.
first shot, instead of hunting it. Because in Phoenix at the Nationals, the first relay is unlimited sider, but the other two are only two-siders. So anyway, this helps me stay, in the center of the target. So those are some of the things that I learned from PRS that I brought over to F Open. And I'm just wondering,
Oh, yeah.
hopefully, once you shoot a little bit more of F Open, see what you're gonna take from it that you can use in PRS.
Yeah. Uh, I shoot a dasher in PRS. I used to shoot a lot of BRA and dasher. Tuning, those things are so easy, right? Everybody thinks
Well,
that, no matter what they pick, it's going to be really good. So I'm hoping that the tuning side, the reloading side of getting an F class rifle prepared to shoot, hopefully quarter minute or, at 1,000. Hopefully that will kind of transition over too. And I'm sure that I'm going to learn a lot from you guys because that's what y'all do. The stuff that y'all focus on, we tend to get complacent about in PRS because it's just it's not as important to most PRS guys that their bullet hits the exact same spot. As long as it shoots a, quarter to half minute at distance, 500-600, we're okay. We feel pretty good about that. But I'll tell you, man, if they can hit the same spot, you got a lot higher opportunity or probability of hitting the plate.
well,
So
as you saw when you shot Tim's rifle, when you find the X ring and then you can just make the same hold and just hit it again and again and again. That's a half MOA target at 1,000 yards, and you were
yeah,
able to string 5, 6, whatever, how many, 2, 3, whatever, how many X's in a row. Now imagine if you could do that in
mhm,
PRS, right? Where you can just,
sure,
you know, I know you guys are always trying to be centered on plate, which is a good idea. But if you're shooting a KYL and the target starts to get tiny,
yeah.
that you can shoot that target multiple times in a row if you needed to, you know.
Well, and PRS, the shooters are getting a lot better, and the equipment is also getting even better, and the ability, the knowledge. I think the biggest thing about this game is that knowledge is getting pushed out in more people's minds now, and so now it's like we understand, most PRS shooters understand a pretty good concept of how to do low development and how to properly, get a rifle shooting small. And
Right.
so um, that used to not be a thing. That used to be something you had to figure out. It took you 8 months, before you started realizing, oh, well, maybe I need to focus on reloading a little bit. And, when I started shooting PRS, you could I remember winning matches with factory ammo,
Mm-hmm.
club matches, and the targets were bigger then. So now what has happened is most of these matches we've gone with smaller targets. Everything on the East Coast is all 90 seconds, and there's a lot of minute targets
Wow.
at all these distances. So I'm going to be shooting the AG Cup second weekend of December, and I guarantee you there's going to be half-minute targets on a lot of these stages. And now this, for anybody who shoots F-class, imagine that. Now your X-ring is my target off this fence post.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to put it in perspective.
Yeah.
And so that it's absolutely extremely important to be able to make that first win call about as 100% perfect as you can get it. So you can learn from that shot. Say it's off a tenth. A 1 minute target's 3/10 wide. And so if you're off a tenth, you can still slap an edge.
Mm-hmm.
And if you saw that, if you had the fundamentals to stay in your glass, watch the bullet hit the target, and then make that little tenth correction, that could win you the match. A lot of these matches are now down to 1 or 2 points, between first and second place. And so one shot out of 200 goes a long ways, as it is for F class too. I
Right.
thought, well, 198, 198, but man, now it comes down to X's. So I'm
Yeah,
excited about
it
it.
comes down to how many times you hit that X ring.
Yeah,
The thing about just like any sport, F class is consistency, right? If you can shoot
yeah,
198s or 199s, you don't even have to shoot clean. But if you can shoot 198s or 199s in any condition, you're gonna do really good. But it's that
yeah,
it gets tougher, right? As the mirage gets worse. Now you have a wobble zone, right? Like just it's the target
mm-hmm.
wobbles. So now your half a MOA gun or whatever your gun was, now it's bigger just because of the mirage, right? Shaking the target.
Yeah,
It's not shaking the target, shaking the image. And then
yeah,
you add wind into the equation, right? And if you have a strong wind, it makes your bullet dip, or I'm gonna say rise, but it doesn't rise. It just doesn't dip as much, right? So, and then you
yeah,
have to shoot in switchy conditions where the wind's coming from the right, and then it's coming from the left, right? Well, this the right wind is making the bullet hit high, and kind of like at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then when it switches, now it's making a dip over to the right, and you have to keep, and it's a small target, and you have
yeah.
20 shots, right? And it's just
Sure.
all that stuff you have to know and account for, all while you're just trying to get through this 20 shot string, because 20 shots is a long string when you're
Yeah,
trying to keep them all inside of a one-way target at 1,000 yards. It's very stressful sometimes.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think the PRS stuff can aid in someone's ability to go shoot F class because we're pretty knowledgeable on ballistics.
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably more than a lot of F class guys. We know what AJ is and how it affects our bullet at certain distance because we're constantly seeing the elevation differences in our kestrel. So if you take a kestrel ballistic solver, geoballistics, and you look
So
and
so
punch in
explain
a 9.
explain what AJ means for people that have probably never heard that term before.
AJ stands for aerodynamic jump, and it's as simple as I can make it. Is explain it is as you shoot a bullet and you have a left to right wind, and you have a right hand twist bullet or barrel, your bullet is spinning to the right, and so when you have a left wind, it will aid in your bullet's gravity. Right, it will help push the bullet down. When you have a right wind, 3 o'clock wind, then it aids in your ability to stay afloat, if you will. And so it doesn't drop as much as fast. So when you have a 3 o'clock wind at 1,000 yards, you can be, 2/10, depending on the wind value, or more.
Hi.
You
If it's coming
so,
from the right,
so if you know,
if it's coming from the left, it's gonna go low. Correct?
if the did I say it backwards?
No, I think you said it right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
So
just
if you have a
emphasizing.
left, yeah, left to right wind, it's going to go low, and in F class, as far as in PRS, we hopefully know which direction it's going to come from, and we have an accurate solution to hit center. So we don't think that it's going to hit one way or another. It's going to hit where it's supposed to hit based
Right.
off the data that we put into the ballistic solver. And so now when you're in F class and you don't have the ability to maybe use a ballistic solver, you just look at the conditions. And when I see mirage right to left, well, then I know that, that bullet's probably going to hit a little higher if my previous shot was left to right. And so a lot of times you guys, it's, I think, pretty rare to see a full 180 shift. I think we're talking about headwinds and tailwinds,
Oh, no, no,
which
no.
is,
If you shoot Phoenix, it's all
yeah.
day long, every day. Like
Oh, really?
Phoenix, you have to Phoenix winning can make the difference between making the wrong decision as to say, for example, you say, you know what, I'm going to shoot the left wind or the right wind, because you're going to have them both in the same string, and it's going to happen multiple times. So Phoenix
Oh,
is
yeah.
tough. So, and you get a full 180 switch. So you're like, you know what, I'm going to shoot the left wind, right? And during your siders, you shoot your left wind, and then you may get started, you may stop, whatever. But then 30 minutes seems like a lot of time to shoot 20 shots, unless you can only get 2 or 3 shots off in your condition before it completely reverses. And then you're like, well, I'm not going to shoot in that because I know that, I don't, for one, I haven't been shooting in that condition. I have no idea where it's going to go. And saying you have no idea, I mean, we have a pretty good idea, but, we're trying to keep it inside the 1 MOA target, right? So you say,
Sure.
I'm just not going to shoot. I'm going to wait. So you wait, and then, the wind cycles, and it picks up, dies down, then it kind of goes to a boil, and then it switches. And then you're like, okay, there's my left to right again. And then you find a good place to jump in, meaning a place that you're comfortable enough making a wind call that you can hit the 1 MOA target to get going again. And you may get 2-3 shots, maybe more, depending on your target puller. If you have a really fast target puller, you can get more. But the point is, sometimes those cycles take 8 to 10 minutes to come back. And if you're only getting 5 or 6 shots off, you need 20, right? And you have 30 minutes. And if the cycles are 10 minutes in between, you're not going to get all your shots off in the same condition. So at some point, you're going to have to shoot the complete opposite wind condition. So anyway, all that to say that, it's not easy, and sometimes you decide to shoot the left to right, and you bought in with that with your siders and some shots for score. Well, then it switches, and then the right to left it's there for 20 minutes out of the 30, and you're like, son of a gun, yeah. I picked the wrong one, and now while you're waiting there, laying there waiting for your condition to come back, people next to you are just banging tens and X's, shooting the right condition. And you're just laying there going, I really want to jump in, but so now you have this situation on your hands where it's consistent, but you don't know what it is, and you don't know how long it's gonna hold. So you don't. Sometimes you're like, well, I'm just gonna buy in, and even if I hit a 9, that's just 1 point, but then I can run the rest of them. Well, sometimes you watch it long enough to where you go, I'm just going to jump in. And you jump in and you get 1 shot, and then it switches again, and now you just lost that. Anyway, it's like playing chess, So it can be pretty tricky. It comes down to timing, luck, and having a good gun, a good puller. There's so many things that go into effect, especially at a range like Phoenix. Raton can just make you want to quit the game. It's bad. It's bad. But that's what makes it fun,
Yeah. That was probably the biggest thing that stood out to me when I went and shot my first F-class match, was how enjoyable it was to not have to worry about a clock per se. I know you would in a big switchy condition and have to wait on conditions,
right.
But me, I never get to wait on a condition. So in order for me to be successful in F-class, I'm going to have to learn how to be patient, and I'm going to have to learn how to wait for the condition to come back. I'm more of like an adapt and overcome kind of guy based off of all these PRS matches I've shot.
Yeah.
You get what you get. You don't make it happen or try to hopefully make a judgment call. So if I can figure out how to slow down and wait on the condition, I think that will be good. And I think that's what you saw in that first group that I shot, slow down, because you probably saw, maybe a little bit of left and right. But, the biggest thing is how enjoyable it was to just be methodical and just allow me to think and analyze of the condition, watch the bullet hit or see where the bullet hit, and make a correction, based off the new environmentals that I'm seeing.
Right.
And I just don't get that time. And that time is enjoyable, to sit back there and just, kind of get back to the basics of what this bullet's doing and why.
Right.
And,
but a range like Phoenix can really, I mean, Bayou can do that too. It's just Bayou's pretty mild most of the time, but it can get real wicked. But like Phoenix and Whittington Center, Raton, we call it the hellhole, because it can be. So like Phoenix, for example, I witnessed a friend of mine. He was shooting right next to me, and he got started in same scenario that I just told you about. I was shooting the left to right, and I stopped, and then the right to left came, and he jumped in, and he actually switched over. As it started boiling, he just kept shooting, kept shooting. Then it started coming from the left, and I'm watching him. But this left to right was different than the one I was shooting, because the one I was shooting was mild. Well, this one just kept ramping up, and he was keeping up with it. He's shooting 10s and X's, and all of a sudden he starts shooting downwind 10s, and then he
Mm-hmm.
shoot another one, and I'm like, I know he's moving, because that's rule of thumb, right? If you're on the right edge, you move over so you can be centered. Well, there's another barely a 10, and I'm like, oh, he's moving and he's falling behind. You know what I mean? He's not moving. The wind is picking up faster than he's moving. Well, sure enough, the next
Yeah.
shot is a downwind 9, right? And I'm like, okay, he's either going to stop or he's going to move like bold moves. Well, he shot again. So I knew he moved at least 3/4 MOA to 1 MOA from one shot to the next. Target comes up and it's an 8 downwind. So that means he moved 1 MOA plus he missed it by 2. So that's 3 MOA. That's 1 mil from one shot to the next.
Whew.
Right? Well, guess what he did? He's like,
Yeah.
well, okay, I'll just move another mil, because
Yeah.
it's probably stabilized. I'll just move a mil and just hit center and stay there and finish it off. So he moves another mil, and he shoots, and he hits another 8, almost a 7. So within 2 shots, within one shot, it sped up a mil, and within the 2 shots, it sped up 2 mils. 2 mils.
Golly.
And we're
That's a
talking,
gust right
we're
there. But
taking 10 seconds. Exactly. Well,
yeah.
he finally hit the brakes, right?
Yeah,
Doug,
exactly.
Doug, he shoots over a bayou. He shot a 7.
Yeah.
That's way down there. And he shoots a big 300, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it can get pretty humbling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
Sure.
seems easy, but it's holy crap. If you were shooting PRS and
Oh yeah.
you're connecting, all of a sudden you miss by a mil, you're gonna think something's wrong
Yeah.
with the rifle.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
All right,
Somebody hit my scope.
no, they might give you an edge hit because it's that far off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I know.
it can
I've
get
seen
pretty
that a
crazy,
bunch.
man. It can get pretty crazy, but it's fun as well. Because two things: either you cope with it, and then you actually make a bold enough move that you stay with it,
Yeah.
or you hit the brakes just in time, which is what I did. I hit the brakes, and they kept shooting. And all of a sudden, I start seeing downwind 10s, 9s, 8s, 7s, and I'm like, all right, I'm glad I stopped. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those. It's fun. It's a fun game. It can be
Yeah.
kind of boring sometimes, like you said, if it's dead calm and you're just pulling the trigger. But it's really not boring, because now it's like, okay, let's see how good my rifle
How,
really is, because
yeah.
that's where the
Yeah.
rifle comes
Well,
in.
I hope I didn't say boring. What I mean is just methodical. I like it's much more slower paced and allows you to think more about what's going to happen to your bullet. And that's what I enjoyed about it. I enjoyed getting to see that. Okay, oh, this is a big gust here. And for me, when I came out and shot that F class match, I didn't have anything to lose, right? Because I
Right,
was expected to lose.
right,
So I didn't. Uh, well, and the big thing, Tim, thank you. I didn't have to worry about loading the ammo or tuning the rifle in or
right.
making sure it was shooting that stuff. I just said, hey, I'm gonna shoot this rifle to the best of my abilities, and get to just watch bullets and make correction. And I just used it as like a learning curve. Like, okay, what was nice about Bayou versus coming out with you is I could see the target for one. That
Right.
was that was I'll put the crosshair on the X. But we it was a few times I got a little. I was like, okay, I made a correction that should have fixed that, and it just you caught the gust, and instead of me being patient and waiting through that gust, and sending one back in the same conditions, I would just shoot through everything, and
Yeah.
hope that nothing,
Well,
but
so
it was pretty. We had a win that was like a 5 o'clock, and it shifted when we did the pair fire
mhm,
after the aggregate was over. We did a pair fire, and it shifted in the 15 shots. It shifted at least 2 or 3 times
uh-huh,
from 5 to 7 though, which
right.
is not a big shift, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. I think that my dad's going to enjoy it. I think that those guys out there have a plethora of knowledge that I can hopefully retain and utilize for PRS and make me a better PRS shooter as well. And then not only that, but and I want to get PRS guys involved in F class. I
Yeah,
want
and
to
vice
grow F
versa.
class through.
And vice versa.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think a lot of like, and you know this, you talk to PRS guys and they go, "Oh, F class, that's such a boring game," but they never tried it, right? And vice versa. You talk to F class guys and go,
yeah,
"Oh, I have zero interest in just going out and just running around and doing jumping jacks." I'm like, dude, it's not, it's not how it works, And I think they just need I think people like us are going to be very useful in growing both sports because I think we kind of bridge the gap, and when they start saying crazy things like, "Well, it's such a boring game. I don't know what I would do with all that extra time." I've heard PRS guys say, "I don't know what I would do with all that extra time." Like, oh, wait until you get a real switch of condition. You're gonna wish you had more time, or
yeah.
because that's another thing. That's another decision that you need to make when you go. I'm either gonna shoot really fast, or I'm gonna pick my way through it, right? And both work
Hmm.
at the right time. But if you use them
Hmm.
incorrectly, dude, you're gonna drop so many points. Because I mean, all you need to be shooting is a 1.1 MOA group, and now you just shot a bunch of
Yeah.
nines. you know,
Right.
but it's very interesting. Both games are fun. They can be a lot of fun, uh, and I think both PRS guys need to shoot open, and open guys, or not open, but TR guys, just F class guys
Hmm.
need to shoot PRS at some point. And I think they're both going to
Sure.
enjoy it. I think they're both going to learn from the other, and overall just grow the shooting community, right?
Yeah. You know, when I was shooting that match, one thing I was kind of picking up on what was going on is I felt like I was getting a little bit slappy on the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of because I'm like, man, this gun doesn't move, right? Like it seems very stationary.
Right.
And so I'm used to having to really like, press the trigger really soft. And I got a little slappy on the trigger. And I wish that, things anytime you leave a match, me, I always think about things I could have done to do better. And I would have shot the rifle fundamentally better.
Mm-hmm.
But I just got complacent. And the heck, it just seemed so easy with that. Tim's rifle was just a national winning rifle.
Yeah.
And so, heck, the bullets just kept going where they're supposed to. But I would definitely slow down and think more and shoot the rifle a little more, fundamentally correct. But
Well, yeah,
yeah,
maybe next
I
time
enjoy.
we'll be able to just walk over to DI Precision and get us one, F open rifle and just
Yeah,
hammer
there
down.
you go. Little DI exclusive rifle. That's a good idea. And then my dad's gonna get to enjoy going out there and watching me, so that'll be fun. What else is going on? We've got um, we've got the expo coming up.
Oh
I think
yeah,
you're gonna be a big part of that.
Precision Rifle Expo. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be there. We're gonna have a little display. We're gonna have some stuff out there, some really cool stuff. I might bring some of these secret products that I've been working on that I haven't told anyone about. I think we're gonna bring some of that. That's what we're gonna do.
yeah, great.
So if you're
Yeah,
gonna be
let
at
the
the
cat out.
expo, you're gonna be able to see the upcoming stuff, or some of the stuff that's ready to go that you might just be able to buy there at the show that you can't buy anywhere
Well,
else.
so I think both of us have never been to the expo. I'm actually a big part of it this year with Phil Cashin, and just to talk about what it is. I think a lot of guys don't know what it is and where it is. So
Yeah, let's talk
the
about the
expo
expo.
is, yeah, it's basically strictly precision rifle based. So anything precision rifle, I think we're going to have over 40 vendors, and we're going to have a giant 7,500 square foot outfitter tent that's all AC'd and heated, and everybody's going to have their own booth. It's kind of like a mini SHOT Show, but just for precision rifles. The other cool thing about it is there's I think 20 vendors that have range spots picked out, so you can show off your new products, let uh, people come in and shoot your rifle. And I know Weebad's going to be there shooting. You let people shoot off their bags, and DI Precision's going to have their 22s there for guys that want to try out one of our 22s. And this year we're actually doing thermal and Expo, thermal and night vision too. So Saturday night they're going to show off a lot of their thermal scopes and night vision scopes, or anybody's in the market for that. But the biggest benefit, I think, from all of it is the classes that are going to be put on there. I know there's going to be some Kestrel classes, and this is all free to all the attendees. So
Yeah.
you buy your ticket. I think it's $40 online, precisionrifleexpo.com. And then that includes all of the classes while you're there, which is giant. I mean, these guys have spent years and years learning this stuff as yourself. I think you're doing the reloading class,
I'm
right?
doing the reloading class. Yeah, I'm gonna attend some of the other classes myself. I mean, it looks
Sure.
looks very very educational. I like you said, it's a mini SHOT Show, but I think the fact that it's smaller, it's more intimate. You get to the fact they're gonna have a range. You're at a range. You can go and test some of the products. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Plus, give you a little bit of software updates with, I'm doing the reloading. I think Frank Galley's going to be there. There's going to be a lot of people there, right?
Yeah. A lot of people there. They're going to be, I know a bunch of big scope manufacturers are going to be going over how optics work. And I know Barrett is going to be there. I think they're going to have their Barrett. They're going to shoot some stuff and let clients or attendees shoot their products. And it's going to be phenomenal. I really think it's going to be a big hit. And this is the first year it's ever been in Texas too. So, we as long as everything goes good, we're going to keep it here next year too. So,
oh yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Anyway,
yeah, I'll be there. Like I said, I'm bringing some cool new products. So, I've been kicking the idea around of just releasing them, but I think I like the idea better of having people get first pick at them at the show, and then I'll probably release them after the fact.
Yeah, do some exclusive. Expo exclusive release, just like SHOT Show. They always SHOT Show video.
There you go.
Releases.
I'll do that.
We'll do the Expo release.
There you
Maybe
go.
do some Facebook Lives or that.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Cool.
I'm gonna be there. Jason's gonna be there. It'll be fun.
Good.
So come by, say hi,
awesome.
And take a reloading class for free. I mean, once you're there, it's free. I'm gonna do it both days, so it'll be fun.
Good deal. Yeah,
all right, Derek.
Well, man, I enjoyed it, Eric.
Thank you for doing this. I know there's a lot of people gonna hopefully take something away from this. It's I like the fact that you're thinking about F class. So once you start doing more F class, we'll have more discussions to see how it's going.
I'm pretty sure I got pretty lucky there at my first match, and so I'm not taking it for granted. But I'm looking forward to learning. And you fun. Guys, there's a bunch of guys that have a lot of knowledge, so I'm looking forward to it.
You're gonna enjoy it. All right, Derek. Thank you very much, and I'll see you at the Expo.
Right.
Thank you, man. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.